So I'll just go over the kind of the new things you're seeing, some new colors, kind of explain this very informal kind of class. We'll go for maybe 40 minutes, and then we'll kind of let you go. You can leave or go shop or just smell the flowers. Very, very casual format. Tomorrow we actually start the spring open house, 57 years. So this month, 1962, Harold Waters, my father-in-law, started the first garden center you'd find in northern Arizona. There had been some garden centers down off of Baseline in Phoenix, Casa Grande. There were some big farming operations, but retail garden centers were the very first one in Flagstaff, Prescott, Payson, White. We were the first one. And it was hard going because the town was very, very small. Back then he did landscaping, a little growing. He'd still go over to the Colorado River and do ranch work. He'd harvest native plants and do stuff. It's just, he had a pet shop. He sold parakeets and cats and hay and all kinds of crazy stuff. And as the town has grown, we've been able to do what our passion is more and more. And our passion is plants and things that make plants grow. That's truly our thing. And then how can we keep it safe, natural, organic? So many things are so unnatural the way we grow plants. We're trying to keep things, trying to teach people how to garden smarter, safer, for their pets, for their husbands, just for their backyards, for birds, all that kind of stuff, for drinking water, for everything. So that's kind of our niche. That's who we are to our very, very core. And those of you who've been with us, because I know I got some regulars in here, you know that about us. Some of you kind of, I don't know about this guy yet. I'll be the judge of that. I don't know about that. So anyway, some things that we're looking at. We are at the planting season. Spring is next week. It will be like it was this week through May. Through May. Not through till May, but through May. It'll be bright sunny days, and it'll be chilly at night. You'll kind of have to put a parka on. We'll be in layers. No, we don't have parkas and down coats and things that go down to our ankles. We have light layers. We're out during the day, hiking around. And you need plants that can do that. You need plants that can go with you and hike around and then come back and then still be outdoors in the cold, be able to take that. And there are an entire series of plants that do that. What you'll find is you'll hear the rumor from non-gardeners. It's always a non-gardener. You can count on it. Non-gardener, you're like, non-gardener. Yeah, they don't know. I wish they knew. Mother's Day. You'll hear it come up, Mother's Day. Oh, Mother's Day. Mother's Day. Oh, no, Mother's Day. You'll hear this thing that comes up. That is our average last frost date. That's what that is. So 100 years of data, we've come up with Mother's Day is on average the last frost date. Well, if all you do is grow tomatoes, and that's it, maybe some zinnias, summer plants, then you're worried about Mother's Day. You aren't going to be worried about spring. You're not a spring gardener. You're not a gardener. You just got a few tomatoes and things out there that you're growing. Here, gardeners, they know what can take like frost and what can grow when it's cold. So I'm going to go over all those things with you. Some of the new things that you really haven't seen, or new colors, some of my favorites. You're going to get some of that. These are things that love bright days. If it snows on Wednesday, they go, yeah, I'm happy with that. And so all of your leafy vegetables, lettuce, spinach, Swiss chard, beets, all your root crops, carrots, radishes, they all have better flavor when it's still frosty and cold at night. So many folks wait. If you're new to the area, this will play out for you. You'll wait too long. You'll wait till Mother's Day, because that's when your neighbor who's not a gardener told you to plant it. And then you put that lettuce in, and then it bolts on you. Like within 3 weeks, it starts to get bitter flavor. When those leafy plants flower, they don't taste good. They taste better when it's real cold at night. They holds them back from bolting. That goes for anything that you harvest the flower. Let's say broccoli or cauliflower. Those things, they'll taste better and they'll hold back. The heads will be larger if you wait, if you plant them 2 months ahead of the frost date. By the end of May, all of those things have bolted and they taste off. The flavor just isn't there. From kale to whatever it is. And so I brought a couple things here. Swiss chard, edible. I juice them. They're delicious. I plant them mainly because they're pretty. So Lisa and I have over 50 pots. Not little pots, not pots. I'm talking like pots. Big trees and pots. Also, I'm a bird gardener. And so I also plant this for my birds. I noticed my sparrows and things are starting to become frisky. So they're building nests, they're starting to do their frolicking. And they love to pick the veins off of this. They like to eat, they use this as a food source. And so I like birds, so I don't mind sharing some of my Swiss chard with them. I plant it on purpose just so they'll have, it attracts more birds, more activity in my backyard. So we've seen bald eagles go across the yard, blue herons in the pond, every kind of bird you could think of, butterflies, hummingbirds are already out, all because we've planted for them so they feel comfortable, they feel safe in the yard. Not just from food source, but the canopy layer. They've got places where they can roost, that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's a place where I don't want them to roost, like behind the front light in the garage, some of the back. I leave them alone until they're done. Then I pull the nest down when the babies kind of go off. This is another one I use a lot. Anyone know what that is? Beets, just regular old beets, like you harvest beets. I like to juice them, so I juice a lot of beets. It's a good antioxidant. It's very rich and it's a colored vegetable. But I plant them for the foliage. Isn't that pretty? You put that with, you almost got a garden. You put that with a pansy, you got yourself a garden. Half of it's edible, half of it's just pretty. It's so easy, and they all like the cold. They all like spring. Everything about spring. They like bright days, cold nights, and they'll stay longer for you. They don't like the summer heat. They don't like 90, 100-degree weather. That's when you plant your zinnias. That's when you plant your marigolds. That's when you put your cacti and succulents and that kind of stuff in. There's a whole summer series of plants, and you'll find in about 6 weeks, none of this stuff will be available. By May 1, it's all gone. But then there's a whole series of nothing but heat-loving. I just want lizards. They're like crawling up on a rock and warming up and going, more heat, please. There's some plants like that. That's the Mother's Day demarcation line. Just so you know, last frost is Mother's Day. The first frost is Halloween. Just if you're making notes, you kind of want those 2 dates. So when do I harvest the last tomato? When do I get the last squash off? The zucchinis have got to come off then. About Halloween, okay? This year was a little later. It was the first week in November or something. Kind of got, actually it was colder earlier. It was kind of a flash-free frost. Took the tops off the plants. Then they just kept on growing. And then by the middle of November, it finally did frost. Gardeners, just rub the foliage and pass it to your neighbor. Because I know it's going to get your salivary glands going, I want some herbs, I can't wait. I graze my way, if I'm hungry at dinner or at lunch, I'll graze my way to the back. Picking strawberries, that kind of stuff. Okay, herbs, I thought I had another one. No. Another smelly thing. This is one of my favorite early spring flowers. This is flowering stock. I like this one in my containers. Is that PA going? It's like all of a sudden I unplugged that one. But then that one's not on. This one I unplugged because it was bothering me.
Okay.
And so now but is it showing up on there?
I can't get the feed.
Oh, gotcha. Well, then it pays to be here in person.
I haven't heard anybody complain they can't hear you.
They will. This is flowering stock. I think it smells better than lilacs. I mean, it's just a fragrance. This is one I love to have in containers where it's raised up, where it's closer to where you can just bend over and enjoy it more. It'll get up about this tall, kind of full, comes in a bunch of different colors. And what I noticed, it's got a real heavy textured leaf. It's got a fuzzy leaf, which is a characteristic. It means the animals don't like it. And so I've noticed my javelina don't eat this. Right out there in the front, they don't bother this. You would think they would with so fragrant. So I'll pass this to the big burly man, smell it, and then pass it on to the gardeners. You kind of take a look. I brought this just because it's rosemary. Every yard should have one. This is common rosemary. It's upright. I brought it because it's blooming. I knew gardeners like blooms. There you go. Enjoy. Yeah. Mine is in bloom in my own yard. I have a ground cover. I have this one in my yard. It's a spreading one underneath the junipers. It's had snow. It's had all the cold. It's quite old. It's about this big around. I do harvest and use it on the barbecue. And it's in bloom, just like this. One thing to watch, the reason I brought this one, instead of just talking about this one is a shrub, gets up like this. This one, be careful of which plants you plant and who you're buying it from. There are a lot, that's okay, that stimulates root growth. Go for it. We'll sell that to someone that wasn't here. Just kidding, I get slapstick at the end of the day.
Door prizes.
This is, yeah, there we go. Huntington carpet. Carpet roses, or not roses, carpet, ground cover rosemary. There are very, very few that are hardy up here, but you see all of them sold up here, especially the box stores. Be really careful. Do your homework. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to other gardeners, or buy from a reputable garden center. Mainly Waters. This is the only one that we sell, but this is one that's hardy for up here. This is the one that I grow myself. I know it performs well here. Other ones, this kind of winter we had, kill them all. So it was too cold, too wet, and they root rot and then they burn out. There you go, right beside. So the point being, make sure that apple tree you're buying, that rose bush, that herb, the vegetable, is what you want and will grow up here. For sure it'll grow through summer. Will it winter over for us is the question. So this one will. So anyway.
They bloom in the winter.
Mine's actually blooming. Yes.
Ours blooms all winter.
We've got a border and it blooms all winter.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
It does perform well.
And the bees love it.
Yep. It's one of the bees are coming out right now and they're extremely hungry. But there's not that much for them to forage for. So they're all over rosemary. I plant rosemary mainly for my pollinators. They come out and they're all over it. Yeah. Okay. What else? I'll let you talk about those. Yep. Yeah. So her question was, she's got a big rosemary. Should she cut it back? Now, a rosemary will take over till nothing's left but rosemary in your yard. So, yeah. I would. Is it upright? Is it a shrub or is it spreading? What I did with mine, I have this one,
Ours is hanging
and it's
over
huge.
the wall.
I look inside the any kind of shrub. I did my salvias, my lilacs. I looked for the big, woody, old, crusty. They look like they've been around too long. Branches. And I go back and I try to cut it right back. And so I leave more of this fresh, new foliage. For rosemary especially, better flavor comes out with the newer, more tender branches. That makes sense. I explained that right? So look for try to thin it out. Start with take one of the major big canes. It'll be hard to you need your loppers or chainsaw or something to get in a saw to cut it out. Then it opens it up, and now you'll get more new growth like this coming up. It's kind of reset that way. So you want to cut it back by about a third. And I would do all that by the end of March. Right away. Do it right away. Because everything is starting to grow. Really, if you're thinking about pruning, you need to be on this now. You need to get done by the end of the month. Because the growing season is on us. Things are going to explode with new growth. And so you want to get that pruning done when you're done. Right away. Okay? Not to put the pressure on, but hurry up.
You mentioned that your herbs and things in pots. Why
Yes.
don't you put them in the ground?
I do have this one in the ground.
The other ones, the tender leaves.
Like this guy or...
Beets and,
Oh, the beets, yeah. You can put them in the ground. Doesn't matter. You can put beets in the ground. I do them in pots because I'm up in Eagle Ridge on a north slope. Heavy clay so that does not perk. I've killed more things. I cannot grow up a manzanita. Killed 5. I don't give up very easy. Killed 5. That's because I own a garden center. It's too easy to try another one, keep killing it. It's actually really expensive to own a garden center if you're a gardener. So I finally went with raised beds. I put a block on the bottom into the downhill slope, and I backfilled. It was a game changer. Now I can start growing things. Also, the reason I grow in so many pots, they're pretty. So this time of year, I use bright colors. So it's design, style, and I've had 2 back surgeries. And so I can't get down there anymore like I used to. My knees are starting to get, I can still go. I hiked down the bottom of the Grand Canyon yesterday, came out, I'm here for you. I lived. But I feel it more than I used to. My back really feels it. So pots are just so easy for me. Raised beds. Raise them up like that. I can sit right there and I can just garden right there. It's just easier for me. And the style is there. That's what you see in the front of magazines right now, is raised beds, containers, square foot gardening. All that's coming back because it's stylish and it's so easy. Yeah.
Quick question about containers.
Yes.
What can you use, what can you not use here?
What
Like
does that mean? If I got it here at the garden center, you can use it. What's that?
clay pots, plastic pots,
Oh,
ceramic,
gotcha. The material. Oh, yeah, good. I got advice.
because some things don't make it.
That's right. A little sip of water. I have an entire class on that. I'm not going to go for an hour on just containers.
Okay.
It is coming up though, I think the end of this month. It's on container designs. We go deep into that.
Okay.
The real quick 30-second nutshell version. Stay away from Mexican clay. That's what you find down in Phoenix, those areas. Very heavy influence here, but I've literally seen that melt in the rain, much less get through a winter. So the freeze thaw, when the water gets in, freeze it just cracks and breaks. That goes as far as the Italian terracotta. The red clay your grandparents used all the time, don't use that. It's going to crack and break. The freeze and thaw will take it out within 2 years maximum, if not first year. All the pottery we have out here is for here outside. It's high fired, it's heavy dense clay, high fired, and so it will take that freeze and thaw. I like going in clay myself, that kind of clay, because it breathes. Things grow in it better. It's harder to overwater in it. I personally do not like plastic. I overwater in it. In the spring and the fall, that you get too much, it stays too wet. Just fine in the summer, spring and fall, it stays too wet, and I have a hard time gardening. That and whatever you do, the last bit of advice on containers, do not, are you guys listening? Do not use soil from your yard in a clay pot or in any kind of pot. What you did is you took clay from your yard, put it in a container, and you formed a brick. It just heats up and becomes solid. The reason you're gardening in containers or raised beds is so you can abandon the soil in your yard that is so crummy. You new folks, you poor new folks, you are going to see how hard it is to plant a hole, to dig a hole. I just had to buy the planting team. A 35-pound jackhammer wasn't enough. They begged me for a 70-pounder. This is the big boy. This thing weighs, like I can't even manhandle it off the truck. These young gut bucks are out there going, yeah, I got this. So they can break up the rock, and that caliche layer, there's a layer of just calcium that builds up. Today, by the way, if you do Instagram or Facebook, you should be following us. And here's the reason why. The guys are very Irish. They've got one Scottish guy, one Irish guy, and they're very proud. Well, St. Patty's Day is what, Sunday or Monday?
Sunday.
On Sunday? They want to wear their kilts to work. And they did. They were out planting delivery all day in their kilts. I took a picture on guys, we'll make you famous on the internet. Here we go. Pose. And they're doing some goofy thing. Some older gal came in. She just got gotten back from dance class. She's 77. She goes, I want them out at my yard planting these 2 pine trees in their kilts. And we'll be there for you. Anyway, we digress. We totally digress. This is dianthus. Every yard should have one. Let me tell you why. Javelina, don't bother this. I've had it all winter long. It is doing this. It's looked like this all winter. and is now blooming like this, and those heads will blow up into a puff ball the size of your hand. It is amazing, perennial, comes back every year for the mountains of Arizona.
And repeat the name.
Dianthus, I thought I had a specific name and I might, did you know this one? No, okay, anyway, Dianthus. And I've got a lot of varieties, I probably have 6, 7 varieties of this because it does so well here. But this is just one of my favorites, so I brought it anyway. Anyone know what this is?
Flower.
Ranunculus, very good. I think the flower looks like a peony flower, which peonies do really well here too. In fact, my Ito peonies, that's that hybrid. There's a grafted one. You take a tree peony, graft it onto an English peony, you get this massive, like peony bush this big with flowers this big, super fragrant. Mine's already up out of the pot. I grow in a container this tall. It is ready to go. There's no holding it back. Spring is here. But it won't be in bloom for another 2 months. Just turned into this great big beautiful bush. Looks like a fern. It's right at the front door. It's glorious. But this one actually will bloom now, March through June. It just does this non-stop. Full sun. If I recall, I don't think animals bother this one too. I forget them all. But I basically have javelina through my front yard. The backyard is fenced.
So is
The
ours.
dogs. So I don't worry back there. I worry about the front. But this is pretty. Comes in 2, 3 colors. They're all over there. Yes. Yep. This is an annual. Comes back. It's a bulb basically. If the bulb freezes, it dies. So it's not worth trying to insulate it and bring it back. It's too cheap to buy another one. So they are indeed. Yeah. This is yours. I'll let you talk about this. In fact, I'll let you talk about which ones. 2 house plants. We mentioned St. Patty's Day. It's a shamrock. Come on, I only have about 2 weeks worth. They'll be gone by the weekend. Grab yours now. They do this all the time. Indoors. This will actually winter over for you in the shade. It's more of a shade plant. So this is a pencil plant. Most pencil plants are just boring green. We don't like boring here at Waters Garden Center, so we have it topped. It's like went to the hair salon and got a do or something. Just like, it's pretty. It's red. You won't find that at any other place. Just unique to here.
I have it out planted outside of my garage. My wife did a nice planting in a big pot, flanking the doors. And we've had 10, 15 freezing nights in Tucson. It survived every one. We had 8 inches of snow 2 weeks ago. It finally burned it back a little bit, but it's still alive.
So going.
Yeah, so.
I saw you brought, hey Kevin, bring those cacti over here too. 'Cause that Moroccan mound, that thing has been amazing. Cacti in my yard, I've got in a pot. I thought, oh, it's experimental, we'll try it. It's a borderline cactus. It's a zone 8. I put it in a pot. It's out there in full sun. I never water it. I don't care for it. I neglect it. I even curse at it sometimes. It still thrives. In the winter, I take it and I put it in my front door. It's right there at the front door, under the overhang. It is going, this is year 3 now. It is magnificent. And so that's this one right here. Thank you, sir. I'm going to take this one. Hey, Chris, I'll let you handle those. You can put them right. This one. This is a succulent, mainly for a house plant, or you take it outdoors, the sun bring it indoors.
And javelinas won't eat that either.
Oh, they don't?
It's a euphorbia.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
it's got
good.
the white, milky stuff. Nothing really will eat it, but it won't take Prescott full on cold. But it'll take, if you forget about it when it's 28, it won't bother.
Yeah. By Thanksgiving, you got to bring this indoors. Euphorbia, yeah, it's a nasty tasting thing.
Anybody, it does have a white milky substance that's an irritant.
Yeah.
So if you rub it on your hand, put it into your eye, it won't be good.
Don't
But it's,
take the sap and rub it in your eye.
you won't go,
Don't
you won't
do
go
that.
blind. But
It's cactus.
it's like
Don't pick a
a
pen.
hot chili pepper when you put it on. It's an irritant.
This is related to poinsettias.
Yeah.
Poinsettias are euphorbia. It's got that same white sap. You see, remember that? This is related to that, only without the ugly foliage.
But nothing's gonna eat it either.
That's right.
Hey, Chris, would you move into the shot a little?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
move into it. Don't
Come
move
over.
out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's good. This one is called Moroccan Mound. I'm trying to introduce more and more of these because they just do so well for me. And it's a borderline thing. If you're out probably Dewey, Humboldt, that area, lower elevations, Cottonwood, Camp Verde, Kirkland, Skull Valley, you're probably fine right out there. It's fine. This one, mine is literally, I'm going to take this. Mine is in a pot this big as this chair. It's up this tall, full, just full. It's glorious. Puts on little yellow flowers up and down the spines. Really pretty. And all I do is I pull the pot underneath the overhang and that's it. I keep the heavy cold off. And we got down to 9 or 7 degrees in my house. It was cold. It was cold this year. Did fine. I'm about to bring it out, thinking we're done with snow. What do you think? This will take snow. I forgot it went down. It'll go easily teens. But I found it'll go single digits if you bring it underneath. So Moroccan now. What are some of those other cacti?
This
Yeah, again, borderline.
borderline, Ken asked me, he's always looking for
Yeah.
different things because he gets bored of the same old thing.
I'm a plant guy.
Yeah, and so this is Trichoceres, the tricho hybrid. So there's all kinds of different colors. These have flowers as big as your hand.
Yeah.
And they're the color of neon, so neon orange, neon red, neon pink. There's a white, there's a multicolor, but the flowers are that big, and they bloom in April, May here. You put them in a pot. This will, they don't get very tall, about this tall, but they're great for pots or under in a protected area in the ground with lots of drainage. It is a real cactus. But the flowers, it'll set a flower every day, and then that flower will go
Cool.
away, new flower. But they're neon, it's like Hawaiian tropic flowers.
So that's a zone 8.
Zone 8.
That's just like the other one.
Well, we call them tricho hybrids. Because they're
Is
so
there a common name
hybridized.
for it? Tall barrel.
There is.
Short barrel. Give me
Torch
something.
flower, maybe.
Torch flower?
Yeah,
Torch flower.
that could be common.
That will be its name in Prescott as soon as I get done writing about it.
But it's a really cool plant that can take a lot of cold. Not every day, not every cold you have, but 90%. And that's really
Question
cool.
Same as
back
that?
here.
Same as that.
Okay.
Question.
Is that an Argentina giant? Is that the-
It's related to that. The Argentine giant has that white flower.
Okay.
Then that's also the same hardiness, very similar plant, almost looks identical. It's a little bit beefier plant with a white flower. A really big flower, like 2 of my hands big almost.
That one is not even close to hardy up here. It's
No,
not-
we have those.
Zone 9, I thought it was zone 9 or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
okay.
related.
What we need is a good test victim to start it.
We lost 5.
Oh, you did? Okay, there we go. I grow mine, these kind of board, I've got a lot of patios. So our entire backyard, from the length of the house, is nothing but paver block patios.
You have to, on those nights that are going to be 0 and 5, you got to cover them a little bit or take them in. But that's not an everyday thing here in the winter. So if it's going to be in the 20s, it doesn't matter. This is the Argentine saguaro, the golden saguaro, or Trichoceres terscheckii.
Right here.
It's a very slow growing cactus, very similar to a saguaro. It will put on arms. I've planted one at our garden center 15 years ago, and I never water it, but it's this tall. And it started like that. So it's not going to sneak up on you and get huge. But I saw it, so in Sierra Vista, which is 4,700 feet roughly,
Go somewhere.
they grow them in the ground there. And it got to 2 degrees one year, and most of them survived. This is probably the cold hardiest plant that I brought up here. So
Nice.
it will,
What about a flower?
it's not so much, once it gets a little bit bigger, it's just, these needles get more yellow. It's something you put in a pot to forget about almost.
Yeah, this one too, we're trying to bring in more and more and more. Everyone wants cacti. Well, there are not very many that grow up here.
No.
So other than prickly pear. So we're trying to introduce new ones that we're testing the limits. If you want a saguaro, this is it.
It's the Prescott squirrel.
There you go.
This is lemon ball cactus or Notocactus linhausii. Very tough plant. I saw a lot of these in Austin, Texas. It gets a yellow flower with the yellow spine, so it's lemon ball. You get these lemony ball flowers on it. It can take, I've witnessed it take 10 many times. No water, it's a very small plant. It will not run away in a pot. But another cactus that you kind of forget about, and then after Thanksgiving you can think about covering them once in a while. But they're very hardy plants. It's something different if you want to try.
Those flower heads?
Yeah.
Yeah. So question for you. How would you, if they're going to hire me to come plant this,
Yeah.
how would you plant that?
Would you like me to? Sure.
Yeah,
All
I'd
right,
love you to
so
show me how to do that.
Here's the pot, this chair. So you dig your hole, you measure, how deep soil is. You probably take a newspaper or something, so where my hand is not going to touch that, right? So I just use newspaper or something. Cut the bottom off. Just lay this on its side. Just support this so you're not hurting the plant here. Cut the bottom off. Put your hand on the. Take the bottom. Put your hand here. Put it in the hole. Cut up the side. Pull that off.
Oh, brilliant.
It's
Brilliant.
not hard.
There you go. Super easy. Now you got the inside tip. There you go.
So
Talk to the man.
that's just you need to support that so it doesn't ruin the roots, right?
So lemon ball.
lemon ball cactus, noted, yes, very
Zone
tough
8.
plant. Yes.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
You just want to hug it, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't rub it in your eye.
So what's
We're zone 7.
that's what I said.
Zone 7, we need plants to go down to 0. So zone 8 is plants to go down to 10 degrees. That's going to be Prescott Valley and Alton 69. All the other side of the Verde that are anywhere lower, 5,000 foot below is zone 8. Up above, we're at 5,400 feet right here where we sit, we're zone 7. If you're up on the ridge lines, Highland Pines, Broom Creek, those areas, you're zone 6. And we are
What
seeing the
elevation would that be?
region warm. We're starting to see it. Like we would never dream we were zone 7 20 years ago. But we are a strong zone 7 now. Because of, for whatever reason, won't debate that, but I think it's because of asphalt rooftops. Island effect, heat, more people here, which is why I think you should fertilize and water your natives. Not often, but once a month, give them a deep soak, because we just altered their natural terrain, and now they're stressed out, they get bark beetle and stuff. So if you've got a prized ponderosa or pinyon pine or juniper, take care of it. And in mind, we could have a sidebar meeting on that, how to do that, but right now it's about the new plants. So once you introduce this, it's so pretty, and that's your plant, that's more.
So we're
And this, so these are all great.
we're a grower in Tucson, but I also own a garden center for the last 20 years. And it's working right now. It's cash register's going. This is Salvia Ignition Purple. This is the newest, one of the newest purple salvias on the market. It's been out for about 2 years. It is the most, and I can tell you with certain confidence in Tucson, the most heat-tolerant salvia gregae there is. We have a huge test garden at our 80-acre farm where we grow everything. We have 40 different salvias lined up and have tested them all. This took 120 and is still blooming in the full sun. So, you still get hundreds here. Salvias don't like incredible heat typically. This one will look great here all summer long because you don't really get over 100. So 100 is perfect for this. So 80s, 90s, 100. This thing is a champ. It's Ignition Purple. We are a certified Monrovia grower, the only one in Arizona allowed, or even allowed to grow for Monrovia. So we grow their perennial line. Most of these plants that are from Monrovia come from Monrovia themselves, but we fill in when they run out. So it's a big honor for us. We're a small business, 100 employees, and it's a big deal for us to be a part of that. This is a great plant. It's the best purple salvia there is.
I do notice this one, I have a lot of reds, because hummingbirds they just love that. We're unloading his red salvia. They're down in the lower greenhouse. And hummingbirds are following the cart, literally, down the lower greenhouse. We unload here, goes down there, literally. They also like the purple. I noticed my reds bloom a little bit sooner, and then they kind of fade a little bit. They'll start blooming in April. They'll keep going. When it gets really hot, this one is a rock star. It comes on better. So I got that one in a pot. My red ones are just in the ground. So I have several. I like birds. If you like birds, you got to have that. And animals don't eat it.
Javelinas hate them.
Yeah.
They do.
They got them in front. They don't go near them.
Oh, good. What do you do? Beat them over the head with the pot or what?
No, with a BB rifle.
What else?
If you cut them back,
Chase them away.
this is the time, Ken is right, to cut them back now. So they get a little woody, you're like, I don't like this plant anymore. You need to cut this plant back every year and it looks brand new again.
Don't tell them that. They want it to overgrow itself.
And
You
come
pull
back
out of the
and
ground, you
grow.
can buy a new one. The water's hard to. But personally, I cut back the real woody ones, and I trim them back about that high. I wait until March though, because if we get a really wet, cold winter like we've had this late spring, it gets wet and they can rot on us. So especially if they're really young. So if it's a new one, I kind of wait until March. I find that's the ideal month to prune back salvias.
This is lemon drops, Tucson Sun, Cali Lophus, botanical name. Very good small plant, small little plant for a little pocket in your yard. Looks bare. You don't want it to get more than a foot tall. It'll bloom all summer in the heat. It'll be green for most of the year when it's not blooming. Nothing much bothers it. It's a very easy plant to grow. You just
Is
cut it
that
back.
related to primrose? No.
So,
Okay. Anyway, it's got primrose going to flower.
so Cali Lophus is the botanical name.
Cali Lophus.
Tucson Sun Drops, which is our genetics. So a lot of these plants that we do, where's the verbena?
Where?
Oh yeah. So this is our selection of verbena. We
get your marigold.
we get. You can buy different the same Cali Lophus from another grower. We'll trial 50. We'll bring up from seed hundreds, and then we'll find one that's a little bit different and does better for the heat or the cold or form, and we will use that plant over and over by cuttings to get so you have the best genetics. This plant is a native verbena that's native to here, maybe to about 4,000 feet. It's a zone 6 verbena, but in Tucson it'll die out in the heat. We found this one growing in the hills of Tucson loves the heat. Propagated so it looks great in Tucson. That's fine. I sell it all over from Utah.
Crazy bloomer. It's a great
So
one.
it's a very compact form. So we're always looking to give you the best genetics. It does.
Kinda. It
Yeah.
gets a little taller than catnip though. Catnip's more of a spreader. But yeah, it's got the same kind of characteristic.
And all these plants, these two are native. They bring pollinators, birds, everything that you want to your yard. So this is a native verbena to Arizona. Verbena, good.
We are on the migratory path, in case you're wondering. The birds kind of follow they follow the water. And we're the city of 5 lakes for a reason. We have a lot of water. We're one of their natural places to stop as they're heading north. So if you're really into birds, you'll see this really interesting pattern. They don't roost in your backyard. They just stay in there for a month, and they hang out, they enjoy then they fly on. And they do the same thing coming back. And so you'll find as you start to landscape for birds, you go, where are all the birds, Ken promise? The first year you got some, oh, there's one. The next year you got 3 times as many. The next year you got even more. And they got you on their radar now. And now you're on their stop. And I walk through my backyard, I got to do this just so one doesn't hit me in the head. They're so thick. Literally, they're annoying. They're annoying. They wake you up in the morning with the sheer noise, which is why I have them. This is a mountain lemon marigold.
Right.
You guys
Yeah.
found, introduced. You should have this. It's a great plant that receives a wild flower that just keeps growing. And animals, you smell, you rub your hand on this.
Very aromatic.
Very fragrant, almost odorous. marigold. Animals are not gonna bother this.
That's right.
They're not gonna touch it. You can smell it. You can almost,
Wow.
here, I'll put it back. You guys can smell it. It's a Mount Lemon marigold.
It's
I'll just put it right here by the camera, and they'll either love it or hate it. Can you smell it?
Oh, yeah.
That's an indication animals don't bother.
We can put that in the front.
Is that yours? This is
yeah,
yours.
that's Gaillardia.
Yes.
Or Arizona Sun.
I like
No, it's
Arizona.
Arizona.
Can you call it Fresca Sun?
Yeah, Arizona.
Gaillardia, this is his Gaillardia. Most Gaillardias are quite boring. They've got a flat petal. It's kind of your grandparents grew this plant. It's been around for a long time. He's grown it where the petals, if you don't mind, look at the petal. I'm going to pass this around. They come out in trumpet shape. Super unusual. This is one you're only going to find at one place. I'll let you guess where you're going to find it at. Waters Garden Center. Literally, you're only going to find it here. It's called Arizona Sunset Tree. What's it called again?
Arizona Sun.
Arizona Sun. I just love the new petals. I get bored. You
He's
can have,
right. The only nursery we sell to in Preston is
yeah.
That's yellow.
Anyway, that's Gaillardia. Also, you'll look at the stems. Maybe the leaves. You'll see a hair come on the back side of the leaf. That's a defense the plant's actually put together. It's been eaten for generations. It said, "Man, I can never flower because the rabbits always eat my flowers. They always eat my foliage. I can never get ahead." So it decided to grow a hair on the back of it. And so now when the deer come in and eat this, they kind of eat on the ground and go, "Ah, I get choked up. I need some water. What the heck is it with this plant?" And so it's a way to defend itself from natural predators, mammals, coming to eat on it. So this is one you can throw out there. And animals, deer, javelina, rabbit, they aren't going to bother this. This one will reseed. You got a steep slope off that driveway. Plant that, it'll actually reseed and come back. Spell. You're never going to have just one. You'll have multiples. So it's a long bloomer, great plant, early bloomer, blooms for a long time. It's a great plant for perennial for here. Continue. What else you got?
You got verbena or glandularia.
Is it related to?
It is, yeah.
These
This
are really-
one has a serrated edge that really nothing likes to eat. So it's not very pleasant in your mouth to eat. So it's a low-growing verbena, just
Native. Just
native.
naturalizes by
So
itself.
it's very cold hardy verbena. The flower's purple, stays foot tall, maybe 3 foot circle,
Yeah.
and just another great ground cover for Prescott. But nothing's really gonna bother it. It's got
That does well in my raised beds. Really, really well.
How was that for watering? Is it a low water?
very low. All
Super
these
low.
are very low water.
All these are.
Green is pretty low water.
Not every verbena, but oh yes, these are all native.
Yeah, you're not from Phoenix, so
Yeah.
we do.
This will live in Phoenix, live in Prescott. It's very diverse.
It'll bloom longer up here.
Yeah, it'll do better
That's
up
cool.
here. Yes, it doesn't really enjoy Phoenix.
Nothing for hummus.
Yeah, just skip Phoenix, just move up here and forget Phoenix. This is rhododendron. Did you know we can grow rhodies and azaleas here? In the shade. This is hard for you Midwest folks, okay? Ohio, Illinois, Iowa, who's Iowa here? You all know who you are. You're going azaleas and in full sun. Don't do that here. Here our sun is more intense because of the altitude and the dryness. But if you place these in the shade, I've got a 2-story house, north slope. The backyard is completely shaded for about 20, 30 feet. It's great for entertaining in the summer, but you can't just grow anything right there in your containers. This one I planted and it just loves it. Long bloom cycle. You can count on it. It's evergreen. It'll take any amount of cold. This goes down to like minus 20, 30 degrees, maybe minus 40 degrees, some crazy cold. It just does this every spring. So you can have it if you place them right. The lesson is, it's got a pretty flower, so I all want you to go, ooh. Go ahead, yeah, that's good, thank you. And then, it's mainly just evergreen that you can grow in the shade. The lesson is, put sun things in the sun, like the verbena, but shade things in the shade. You need to be a little more strategic where you place the plants here, okay? This one, every yard needs a lilac. Your grandparents grew common lilac. Big purple thing, great big flowers, and we have 100 of those. It's a #1 seller because Everyone remembers grandma's lilacs. But quite honestly, I mean, it's great, but I have yellow, I've got white, I've got red, I've got ever-blooming reds, I've got pinks, and then I've got this one. This is a dwarf version. Not every yard can handle a shrub this big off the back patio. This one I have off my back patio. It only gets up hip high, kind of 4 feet like this, and it pulsates blooms like a rose. So come into bloom, take a little rest, bloom again, take a rest, bloom again. Mine bloomed 3 times. I've had up to 4 times. Depends how long the season is. It has the same fragrance that the common lilacs do, same color. The flower's a little smaller because it's a dwarf. But it makes up for it in sheer quantity. It has more flowers than the other ones. So I find that's a great little, it's called bloomerang. Oh, thank you. What are we giving to them anyway?
I don't know, you're the boss.
You know what? We'll enter them into. Give me your email address, and I'll send you. What can I give them? I can give them that book. This seems to be a native talk. I wrote a book on low maintenance, drought hardy landscapes for here. It's for here. It's not copied from somewhere else. It's for here. I wrote it. It's right there. It's free. I'll give it to you. It's about 40, 50 pages. Lots of color, lots of pictures, and it mentions a lot of these. And I'll give you my top 10 plant list. It's a 2-page list. I give it to my new employees that come in. I mainly made it for them because they're a master gardener from Oregon or from Oklahoma or from wherever. You kind of know the plants. If you know what the top 10 fall colored trees are, the top 10 evergreens for screening, the top 10 low growing bloomers. It's that list. I'll give that to you as well. Seem okay? So I'll give it. It'll be in a PDF format, so you can be able to download it on iPad, your screen, your laptop, whatever. Okay, so it'll be easy format. If you're already on our list, I'm not sending that out to mass humanity. There's like 10,000 people on the list, part of the garden club, and I love that. But this is just for you all. Just it's only going to go probably for me. Use my desktop and I can just type it out real quick. And here's what I promised yesterday. Go. So it'll be real quick tomorrow. Okay. So that's for you all. Forsythia. We've got a lot of different forsythia. They just woke up this week. They just started blooming. Not all of them, just select few. These are ones that announce spring. They always bloom first, and then they after that the lilacs bloom, and then it's Rosa Sharons, and then it's the roses, and then it's the crepe myrtles. There's a series of wave of flowers. They don't all bloom at once if they're season. So 20% of your plants should be spring bloomers, 20% should be summer bloomers, 20% should be fall color, strategically maples and aspens, 20% should be evergreen, that is the anchors through winter, and the other 20% should be whatever tickles your fancy, whatever you like. You're here aiming for the summer, commit to summer. Skip the evergreens. Go back to Phoenix and go back to you got your 2 homes, do that. Focus on summer because that's when you're here. And that's how we help design. Okay, this is a forsythia. It does this for about a month and a half. Turns into this beautiful green shrub. And it has a fall colored as aspen gold. It's got a great looking shrub in the summer, spring bloom. Anyway, this is what it does. This one has gold clusters. Is actually a dwarf. It only gets about hip high. So many shrubs get quite large, like a lilac. This one, we were trying to find smaller plants, so you can have them in containers. They won't take over the whole yard.
Is it deer friendly? What about
2
the
others, and we'll let you go. What's that?
animals on that one?
Which one was I just talking about? Forsythia, they don't eat. Don't even worry about it. They're not going to bother them. They should. It's pretty. I want to eat some. I want to add a little ranch dressing and have some. They don't eat it. No. They don't eat this one. This is Lily of the Valley. This is not in bloom. This is a bud. It does this all winter. The buds keep swelling and swelling and swelling and swelling. And finally it erupts. These huge clusters of white flowers that are super fragrant. Like daphne kind of fragrant. Like sweeter than a rose fragrance. It's evergreen. Gets up about this big. That's about knee high. covered in flowers every spring. Animals don't bother it. Hummingbirds like it, butterflies are on it. It's got everything we kind of want for here. It's a good perennial. It does take some water, it does prefer a little more shade. I tested this one last year, and shade. Let's see how much sun it can take. Wasn't that much sun, so it burned back pretty hard in the summer. I moved it closer in the shade. It's happy as can be. Okay. Lily of the Valley. This one is the opposite of that. It grows knee-high, gets a pink flower, super fragrant, but this one loves the sun, heat. This is called Indian hawthorn. Evergreen, it's the same as this. I kind of think of them in design terms. I could put this in the shade, this in the sun. I just go with it that way. But it's a great little plant. Every year you should have one of these. It just has all we want. Evergreen, spring bloomer, tough sun, low water. It's got everything we come. I wanted you to pass that around. I wasn't giving that just because you're a pretty man. Let everyone see. Here.
Yeah.
Pass it.
We've
Oh, has it?
seen
Oh. Then this is for you.
Kisses.
I tell you what, I do like my customers. Part of the reason I love coming to work every day is of you all. When I get really stressed out, I got to have tax conversations next week. Oh, I hate that about being a small business. Advertising is kind of fun. Creative release, we get way too much computer time. When I get really stressed and bored, I come talk gardening to gardeners because you all are just a delight to talk to. You're my pressure relief valve. Thank you. I heart you. Yes.
Can you talk about camellias?
Camellias, yeah. Camellias grow here. My Californians love camellias. And my short stint in California, I grew the tropical camellia. Evergreen, great big flowers. They do not grow here. But there's one series that does. Is that you? You asked a question, you let your phone go off? Oh, who's calling? Let me have that phone. I want to talk to him. There's a series called Ice Princess that will go down to, it's a zone 7, maybe zone 6. Goes down to -10 or something. Wow. So it'll grow here, any elevation. Probably won't make it to Flagstaff or Williams, but all the other elevations, fine. It's evergreen. It forms a flower about that big. It's not quite as big, but it has more of them. I've grown it in more shaded areas. I've had it right out there. I raised my family in Skull Valley. I planted a whole hedgerow up against the patio. Elk, deer, javelina, all were roaming through the landscape. They did not bother my camellias. Bulletproof, I'm sure it's bulletproof. Just you want it in more shaded areas, patios, north side, under the canopy of trees, and it would do fabulous. They grow about this big, shrub height.
Are they multiple colors or does it only?
I've got, they're single colors,
Yes.
but I sell 2 or 3 different colors.
Oh, okay.
Ice Princess has a series pink, apple blossom, and white or something, maybe
So
red.
They're the ones that have the big yellow center, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I love my camellia. There we go, yeah. I can talk orchids too. I can talk whatever you need. Roses I love. Okay, with that, I'll answer one last question, then we'll thank Chris for being here. You got it? Okay, I'll really thank you, Chris, for being here.
Thank you.
You folks on Facebook, thanks for tuning in. We'll just hang out if you want more questions or we didn't quite get to you. Or there's lots of color going on, all the plants we have now can be planted now. With that, my voice is officially gone. Thanks, you all.